Mother's Day is a special holiday to show our ongoing love towards mom and mother-like figures. But what about when your relationship with mom isn't something out of a greeting card? Today's guest is here with some steps to navigate a new date in relationships with our mothers. Family therapist Nancy Ryan from the Relationship Therapy Center is here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so this is an important topic to talk about. We were just saying during the break that Mother's Day is coming up and we're seeing all of the celebratory, exciting things of people celebrating and enjoying it. But there's also another side to that topic. So why is Mother's Day difficult for some?
Yeah. It is that hallmark image. You know, we just see these wonderful connections on TV and anticipating the holiday. But if your relationship is strained with your mother or had been strained and she's passed, you know, all those unresolved feelings can be difficult as you approach. And as we become adults, I think we become a little bit more aware of what went on. So there could be, you know, gosh, my mom criticized me or wasn't there for me. And you know, what do you do with all that if you haven't really talked about it? So navigating the adult relationship is hard.
Yeah, so what else would you say plays a part in a strained relationship with a mom?
Yeah, so it's, you know, recognizing that there was abuse or neglect or other dysfunctions such as substance abuse or mental illness that hasn't been resolved. That makes it very difficult because if it hasn't been talked about, you're just kind of sweeping everything under the rug. The other thing is, you know, a mom that's still like maybe giving you too much advice or criticizing you today is not always comfortable to be around. You know, and I think when we become moms ourselves, we realize how difficult it is to be a perfect mother.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we have some grace as we're navigating this.
And why can it be so hard to admit or even accept when a relationship with one's mother doesn't fit the ideal mold that we're kind of told and seen?
Yeah. It's when we have unspoken wounds and strained relationships, that can cause a lot of resentment in us. And I think there's a part of us that all wants this perfect mom, right? We want to be completely accepted, nurtured, loved, always having our mom be there. And when that isn't there, there's a sense of loss. And sometimes that can make us feel angry or we haven't figured out how to resolve that or navigate the adult-to-adult relationship. So there's a grief there, there's an anger there.
Yeah, and if we have a strained relationship with our mother, what can the offspring, their children, do to kind of rekindle that if possible? What steps should they take?
Yeah, well, a lot of it is being able to do your grieving on your own. So sometimes that's an individual therapist if you need to process all the emotions that are there and let that go. Especially if your mom's gone. If your mom is still around and willing, family therapy can be really helpful. It isn't an arena to blame or argue. It's a safe space to be able to be heard and understood from both sides because we don't know what's necessarily going on with our mom or what happened, and she just did the best that she did following generations. And so healing that can help us be better parents and change the generation moving forward.
Yeah. And if there's tension between mom and daughter or mom and son, how could we bring up the topic of, hey, maybe we should try family therapy without making someone mad?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think what comes first is being able to set some appropriate boundaries so that your role as a daughter or son is what you decide it's going to be. And so setting those appropriate boundaries and maybe curtailing the time or conversations can help. And if that doesn't help, it's, you know, I really care about our relationship. I think this would be really helpful for us. This isn't a mom bashing session. I want to build a better relationship.
Yeah, it's a safe space and we want to, like you said, grow on that relationship. What if we know someone who's going to have a difficult Mother's Day, whether their mother has passed or we know there's a strained relationship between a friend who has a tough relationship with their mom? Is there anything we can do as a loved one or a friend to help?
Any kind of really nurturing, especially female influences to those people, of remembering that, you know, reminding them that it doesn't have to be perfect, but grabbing them for lunch or making sure they get a phone call and knowing that they're going through a hard time.
Yeah. Any other tips for us today, Nancy?
I would say to do your own work, right? There's a lot of unhealed wounds and making sure that you do that changes generations. And so either, journaling, getting it out, processing the emotions, seeking therapy on your own, it just really shifts and changes continuing relationships.
Yeah, especially like how you were mentioning, if you've had a relationship with your mom and you're sweeping things under the rug and things aren't being talked about, therapy, journaling, all of these are helpful steps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and helping us for those who are dealing with a tough time this Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here.
You bet. And to find out more, you can go to therelationshiptherapycenter.com.